It is my pleasure to introduce and welcome back business coach and marketing brand consultant, Anjali Varma. Anjali was very well received at our conference last year, so we're very glad that she is here again today. Anjali is a business coach for female entrepreneurs and a consultant specializing in marketing, strategy, personal branding, and business branding. She's also a mom and has an online mompreneur tribe Facebook group. You may recognize her as she's also a regular TV spokesperson and in fact did a segment on Let's Talk Live about our conference last week, which was amazing. Thank you, Anjali. She will talk to us now about marketing on a shoestring budget, sharing some low-cost and even free marketing strategies to market your business, drive awareness, increase sales, and attract new customers to your business. There will be time for some questions after Anjali's presentation, but she also has a station at the Ask the Experts cocktail party later. So be sure to take the opportunity to talk to her there as well. Okay, enjoy. Thank you, Anjali.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to be taking the stage for another year, this year to talk about marketing on a shoestring budget. So to get started, I wanted to share a few interesting statistics that may surprise you a bit about marketing these days. So first of all, for every $92 spent acquiring customers, only $1 is spent actually converting them. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to really reduce that acquisition cost, providing free and low-cost marketing methods for you to drive customers to your business. And the idea here is that once you pull them in and acquire them, converting them to a sale becomes a lot easier. So marketing is really key. Marketers who prioritize blogging efforts are 13% more likely to see positive return on investment. So the idea here is I'm going to share a little bit about content marketing, blogging, social media, some of these things that are less traditional but now have become much more popular and really can give you a big return on investment. I'm sure many of you fall victim to this one. So Instagram users spend about 53 minutes a day on the app. Now, I don't know about you, but I was actually surprised that this isn't higher. That might say a lot about my Instagram usage. But the idea here is that probably your target market is on this app. So how do you use this app, which again is free, to drive awareness and business and sales? And then finally, a little bit more on content marketing, but you're likely to get 3 times more leads than paid search advertising. So for those of you who may be currently paying to get ranked high in Google, content marketing can do that for you. And again, you don't have to pay anything. So, before we get into marketing on a shoestring budget, everything that you do for your company, particularly as it pertains to marketing, you really want to have a goal. That's the business coach in me, always having a goal. And sometimes we can kind of go off the rails, and you always want to bring it back in. So when you leave here today, whatever you do, if you take these strategies, if you don't, try to focus on all of your marketing campaigns and efforts fitting at least one of these 3 buckets. 1, increasing awareness about your brand or business. 2, driving sales, as we know that's very important. Or 3, maintaining a relationship with your customers. So as you're going to see today as I take you through all of these strategies, all of them are going to fit into at least one, if not more, of these buckets. But before that, Diane gave a great intro, so I won't go too in-depth on this, but I'm a business coach. I host boot camps and workshops for female entrepreneurs. I also own a brick and mortar location in downtown Bethesda called Kidville, which you're going to hear a lot about just as examples of how I actually implement some of these things. And I have a lot of corporate marketing experience, an MBA and BBA, so the strategies you hear today will be a roll-up of all those different worlds. Okay, so this cartoon right here is my depiction of not reinventing the wheel. So I kind of told you a little bit about you, but I want to learn about, a little bit about me. I want to learn a little bit about you. So can I have you guys raise your hands if you have a business today? Oh, wow, okay. And then those of you who are just getting started or don't have one but hope to? Okay, Perfect, so that helps me kind of frame the combo. So, we focus a lot on marketing, focus a lot on finding new people to bring in. Oftentimes, though, the people that could be spending more with us and driving those sales I talked about are right under our nose, and we don't focus enough on them. So I'm actually going to spend a little bit of time focusing on your existing customer. Why? Because those people are already loyal fans of yours. They know about you. They love you. They know your business. So why not focus on the people who already love you and squeezing a little bit more out of them before you focus time and energy on those people that you don't know and trying to get them in your doors, right? And even if you don't have a business, I don't want you to gloss over this part of the presentation, because when you're framing your business, these concepts are going to give you a great idea on how to frame some of your services and maybe even some of your pricing. So the first strategy when looking at your existing customers is to think about how do you increase the average transaction size of your current customers, right? So they're already buying a specific product with you, or they're already buying a specific service with you. How can you get them to spend just a little bit more on that product or service? Again, tying back to that one of those 3 goals I told you to increase your sales. So let's take an example of that. Let's say you're a donut shop, right? And you charge $1.25 for a donut. Anybody know, is that the going rate? I actually didn't do research. So hopefully that doesn't seem high or low. So you have those people that buy that donut with you every morning, or that guy that comes in every Saturday morning, that's his treat, right? He pays $1.25 without fail. What can you do to get him to spend a little bit more? Why not throw on a cup of coffee, right? And now let's say you charge $1.25 for coffee. Instead, you're going to say, for just 50 cents more, that guy's getting a deal, right? You can have a cup of coffee and a donut. In the end, he has a breakfast that's under $2, which you market as that, right? And you have an incremental 50 cents more a customer. And if you look at it, if you take that incremental 50 cents and you times it by, let's say you had 200 customers that spent that a week, that's about $5,000 annually, which is not chump change, right? So the idea here is, how do you take your current services and products, the ones that people are already buying from you, and maybe bundle, add on just a little bit more to increase your average transaction size and drive more sales. Now let's look at your current customers again and just flip it slightly. That was when they're buying a specific product or service from you. How can you get your current customers to spend more by cross-selling them products and services that they've never even considered or they haven't purchased from you in the past? Or how do you add on to your products and services by polling your customers and finding out what it is they want? I'm going to show you a couple of examples of this. And again, this drives back to that goal of increasing sales. So at Kidville, we offer classes, birthday parties, haircuts. We have found that just because someone takes a class doesn't mean they do birthday parties and doesn't mean they do haircuts. It would be amazing if they did all of those, but they don't seem to do it. So what we started doing a couple years ago is those moms that take classes with us, we tried to figure out, how do we convert them to now take birthday parties with us? Again, they already know us, they love us, they're loyal to us, but we haven't been pushing them to maybe jump to that other service that we offer. So now we send an email 2 months before their child's birthday. Hey, Bobby's birthday is coming up. Have you thought about throwing your party at Kidville? And obviously we send 100 emails. Maybe we get 5 to 10 responses, but those 5 to 10 responses are people that maybe wouldn't have booked with us before, right? So we will see that some people will say, I hadn't thought about it. We'll see some people say, I didn't realize that you offered that. Or I've been thinking about it, I didn't know what to do, let's just do it. So you're taking, timeliness and seasonality and also people that are already a fan of you, and you're making a new sale. Same thing about polling your customers and finding out what it is they want. We heard from customers that moms wanted to get to know one another. They wanted to meet other moms. They wanted classes where maybe nannies weren't in attendance. So we took all of that feedback and we created a new play group for moms that was something outside of the norm of what we've done for the last 9 years. And now we have all these new moms who have come in our door because it's a new service, and we've increased revenue by adding an incremental revenue stream. So does that make sense? Finding new ways for new products and services, polling your customers, and these are your existing people, the people that already love you. And you can apply this to a service business as well. So the third way that you can look at your existing customers to help you market your business literally for free is to focus on what I like to call in Kidville's case, it's the rock star mom. She doesn't look quite like this, but you get the idea. And in your case, it would be your rock star customer. So what is a rock star customer or a raving fan? It's somebody who is loyal to you, who has been shopping with you for a while, who loves your brand, right? You know those people usually. And two, it's someone who has a big network, is well connected, knows a lot of people, and likes to tell you that they know a lot of people. Those two components together equal a rockstar customer. And how can you work with these rockstar customers? You wow them, you dazzle them, you make them feel like they're the number one customer out there, right? So that they want to spread the message to all of their other friends. You give them incentives to invite their friends to come in, a special discount just for you if you have XYZ members or friends that come into our establishment. Or, for example, I know there's a woman that has a really strong female entrepreneur Facebook group, right? I do a monthly boot camp, and I partnered with her. If she got X amount of people into the boot camp, she might get a special deal on my boot camp herself. And we sold out the boot camp quickly as a result because I was able to identify somebody who had a strong network, give them a little bit of an incentive to bring on other people, and as a result was able to sell out my boot camp. So that's how you can use it in a services business as well. Ask them to post testimonials and share on social media as well. You can't underestimate that. This is now the other ways that you can use not use your customers, but work with your customers, even if they don't fit those two categories of rock star, just any customer out there. Are you asking for testimonials and posting those on your website and social media? Are you posting, if relevant, on Google and Yelp? Do you have a referral or an affiliate program set up? These are all ways that you can, get people to become your brand ambassadors and to spread your message without, again, spending $1. So far, I don't think we've spent $1, but I'm also going to give you a couple of ways where maybe you can spend a little bit of money but still get bang for your buck. So now, those were all how you can work with your existing customers. Let's talk a little bit about how you can work with people that are outside of your customer demographic to reach new people, build awareness, and bring new people into your doors or into your services. Influencer marketing has become huge these days, right? And this is really the idea of looking at people who have quote-unquote influence or reach or connections and how you get them to spread your brand message and the value that you provide. Now, the most common place this occurs is on Instagram. However, you could look wherever your customers are living. That's where you want to partner with an influencer. So if it's Facebook, you find the Facebook person. If it's Pinterest, you find the Pinterest person. For the purposes of what I'm going to talk about now, I'm going to use Instagram as an example. But again, it can be anywhere where your customers live. Now, one of the biggest fallacies out there about influencer marketing, I believe, is that you've got to get somebody that has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers. Now, you know that those people are out there, and many of them have legit followers, but many of them don't have legit followers. And you're going to be paying for the number of followers that they have, essentially. So I think it's much smarter, especially if you're on a budget, to find someone who's hyper targeted, but really has the followers that fit exactly what you're looking for as your ideal customer. That could mean that they have 1,000 followers, but those followers are so engaged, they love this influencer, they take everything he or she does and they do it themselves. Those are the people that you want. Those are the people that you'll look for on Instagram or Facebook or any of these other platforms. So engagement is much more important than the actual number of followers when doing influencer marketing campaigns. You also really want to look at the content that they're currently providing. So if they're the right fit with your audience, they are taking all the actions and doing all the steps that your audience would be doing. So you want to find someone where if they're promoting your brand, it's seamless. It doesn't look like an ad. It doesn't look out of place because they are your target target demographic, and they are doing all the things that your prospective customer would be doing. Other tips, you want to use a code of some sort so that you actually can track the success of an influencer marketing campaign. And ideally, they're using multiple channels, not just one, to promote your product. But again, this is a low-cost way. It could be anywhere from $150 to $10,000. But you can even try bartering services with people who are smaller and, again, are in line with your customer demographic. For instance, at Kidville, maybe I'll ask moms if they want to try a few classes on us in exchange for sharing their experience on Instagram. Okay, so we've talked about how other people can market you. We've talked about how your current customers can market you. And now let's focus a little bit about how you yourself and or your staff can market you and build awareness to a new customer base. I am a big fan, I don't know how many of you were here last year, but I spoke about personal branding, and it's definitely my soapbox, and I'm a huge fan of everyone having a brand, whether you have a business or not, but particularly if you have a business, because no one can sell your product, your service, the value that you bring better than you can. So we're going to talk a little bit about a couple of strategies that you can do that, again, cost no money or very low cost, where you can establish yourself as an expert and really help to drive awareness about your business. So establishing yourself as an expert, what exactly does that mean? This could be you as a person, meaning you, the business owner, showing your expertise, or it could be your business showing the expertise. But what it really comes down to is developing content where you're answering questions that are relevant to your industry. So if you're a professional organizer, how can you create tips that really show that you are an expert in organizing closets, or that you are an expert in organizing the home? So thinking about what are those topics and questions that are relevant in your industry, and you being the go-to expert and answerer of questions in that industry. You can also think about what your customer pain points are. What are the questions that you get most from your customers? Those right there are probably the struggles that anybody else who's looking for someone in your industry has. How can you create your expertise and develop content that really reflects that expertise so that you become the go-to resource? And then you show that expertise in a variety of ways. And we're going to talk about some of these a little bit more, but it could be speaking on a stage like this. It could be PR, which we'll talk a little bit about as well, or other forms of media. Or it could be in social media or blogging, Facebook Lives. There's so many different ways that you can really show that expertise. So this is all really boils down to content marketing. And what that really means is you developing content that's relevant to your industry, that legitimizes you and or your business, and that draws people in. And once they're drawn in, the content you've written is so relevant to them and is so compelling to them that they want to learn more or they want to buy with you, right? So if that content is on your website, it's a great way for you to drive stickiness to your website. That search engine optimization I talked about earlier, the more that you're updating your site, that you're putting industry terms on there, that you're putting your business name on there, the more the Google algorithm is going to filter you to the top of the list. So it helps to drive search engine optimization. By creating effective content marketing, you're also driving more eyeballs to your website. And then once you're at your website, you'll be able to cross-sell them and introduce them to all of those great products and services that you offer. So the goal of content marketing is really, you don't have to have these lengthy posts. In fact, we know nobody has attention span these days, right? It can be very, very short. Like the whole top 3 tips for XYZ, top 5 tips for XYZ, that is all you need. So brainstorming about different content that your audience would like to see, and then you can use that content in all of your different platforms and all your different channels and drive people to your website to then convert them into selling something else. Okay, another great way that can be low cost or free, if you can figure out how to do it effectively, is to leverage media. So earned media is when the press or anchors, newspapers feature your business in a media outlet without you paying anything. You could also do paid media where you're paying commercials or you're putting an ad in a newspaper, right? But that can get very costly. So what I'm talking about here is much more media where you're pitching yourself to news outlets. So the content marketing that I talked about on that previous slide, one of the great reasons I coach my clients into doing that is not only to drive content, but also it really helps your brain start to think in that way. That also is a great way to pitch the media. So top 5 tips for XYZ, driving things to seasonality. Those are all things you can kind of do, tips and tricks that you can do to pitch the media. But really the point of this slide is to say that this is another way that you can take advantage of channels that are out there without spending a dime. Now I will say, if you don't have media relationships and or you don't know how to do it, sometimes it's worth the investment to hire somebody to do it for you so that you learn, or a coach to help you along to do it. I, 7 years ago, hired someone at Kidville and spent a little bit of money, and they pitched me originally, and then I learned everything I needed to learn from her, and now I'm able to do it on my own. So sometimes you might have to invest a little bit to save in the long run. And then finally, you can never underestimate the value of networking. As I mentioned, no one's going to sell your business better than you. So put yourself out there as much as you can. And clearly, you all see the value of that because you're here at this conference, right? But when you think about networking, there's so many different ways that you can leverage it to drive your business and to create awareness and to drive sales. So one way is to make sure that you're at events where your target demographic will live, right? So where are the events where people who you are trying to draw into your business, where are they at? Where are they at? So street fairs, for example, at Kidville, I will stand at the Bethesda Street Fair 6 hours all day saying hi to all the moms that walk by to drive awareness, right, about my business. Female entrepreneurship conferences for those of you that are service providers, marketing consultants, PR consultants, providing financial services. Where are all of the entrepreneurs hanging out? Where do you want to be so that you can be in front, literally, physically in front of your target audience? Also, you want to think about networking events where you're going to be able to meet influential people, influencers, media. Those might not be your target audience, but those are all going to be people who can spread your brand message, create awareness about your product and or service to a whole host of other people. So networking offline, I believe, is huge and, again, a low-cost way for you to spread awareness about your business. And then networking online is another low-cost way, right? So how can you interact? Where should you be online where your target audience is? Online, Facebook groups, Instagram. And then how can you interact with influencers and media online, meaning commenting on their Instagram pages and their Twitter pages, pitching them via direct message in Instagram and Twitter. There's all these different ways you can be using online networking to drive awareness and drive sales as well. Every interaction is a potential sale and or a potential new evangelist or brand ambassador for your business. So that is networking. And I know I'm I guess right on time? Yeah? Okay. So these are different ways that we can stay connected. I am going to be at the cocktail hour, Ask the Experts table for 2 hours, so you're welcome to come by and chat with me then. And I will be here all afternoon. I would love to meet you in person and say hi. And these are a couple ways that I work with women entrepreneurs. I just yesterday decided to launch a 3-month group coaching program about building yourself as an expert, talking about giving you those tools to pitch yourself to the media, pitch yourself to speaking engagements. And the reason I bring it up, one, is to tell you about it, but also because I've been sitting on this idea for probably 3 years. And in my own masterminds, I'm always I'm going to do this group coaching thing. I'm going to do this group coaching thing. And I've ruminated and I've ruminated and I've ruminated. And yesterday I decided that I'm just going to do it and not be scared of it. And, I have most of the details, if not all, ironed out. But, the goal of me telling you that is just that if you're ruminating on an idea for your business, just go for it. Because more often than not, you have the intuition to know that it's the right move. And if you're ruminating on starting that business, just do it. Of course, educate yourself and be smart about it. But that was my 2 cents on motivating you to kind of go out and follow your dreams, and also go out and launch that one thing that you have been thinking about doing and have kind of been nervous to do. So with that, I will take your questions. Any questions? Yes. Yes, so I think so the question was, is it okay if you find somebody else's article out there to take it and put it on your website? So I think if you, of course, give them credit and you link back to their website so that it's providing, something for them, then I think it's okay. But I think you also want to give a little bit of your own commentary on it so that you're showing kind of your viewpoint and the value that you bring based on the content that you are sharing that someone else has created. Make sense? But I used to do like a weekly roundup, and that was very popular, where I would just like aggregate 5 different articles that were relevant to women entrepreneurs, being like, these are great reads. And so that is a way to do it as well. Yeah. Yes.
How would you modify your advice for businesses that are trying to tackle social issues, like social change businesses? It's not a service, it's not a product. How would you modify your advice?
Well, I still think that you can blog and leverage social media to really get your message out there, right? So thinking about that change that you're trying to make, or that message that you're trying to get, and then figuring out how to showcase people who are doing, what it is that you want to do, or the value of the change that you're trying to make, why people will benefit from it. Those are the kind of things you want to create content on. So what is the business?
Contracting, contractor rates is one. Animal welfare is another, and just general immigration and women's upliftment is a third one. And I have tried to research it as much as possible. It's been quite difficult for me to figure out how to get people interested if it's not something that will benefit them financially, and there's not a lot of research out there for these issues. So I was just wondering what.
Yeah. Well, one, I would try to follow as many people as you can that are doing anything similar, because again, not to reinvent the wheel, there's so many people that are likely doing something in similar industries or completely separate but are trying to fight that cause. So looking to see how they've already done it is one way that I often use. And then also doing things that are kind of motivating, related to your cause, and really showing the benefit of what can happen if people, adopt whatever strategies you're saying they should adopt.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi.
Hi. I'm curious if in your initial entrepreneurial journey, if you were successful using bootstrapping, venture capitalists, did you apply for business grants, loans? How did you find success initially?
Yeah, so with my brick and mortar, I did an SBA loan. And that was an entire process, but not as daunting as you would think. And then obviously with all the things I do now, it's much more as I go, and it doesn't require as much overhead. But I did go that route for the brick and mortar. Yeah. But there's so many great pitch competitions now, and VCs, and so many opportunities for funding, particularly for women and minority women. And I think there's a panel on it later, right? So that is something that should not deter you in this day and age, I don't think, from following what it is you want to do. Yes.
Hi, I'm Kalila Johnson of KalilaJohnson.com, Undefeatable University. And just have a question on how long should I take before launching a product once I have my products together? And what are the steps that I should take?
Okay, well, what kind of product is it?
They're for consulting, coaching, online training for self-development for women. And so I have 3 different steps that I'm going to unveil. First, as an intro product, I want to unveil that and launch that soon.
Yeah, so I think for services like that, I think that you can start to tease it in social media and even in networking events like this to try to get a sense of what the demand is. And once you have an idea that there is a demand there, then there's no reason to hesitate in actually launching it, right? So a lot of people will say you don't even take the time to create it all until you have sold it. Because why take the time, particularly if you're new, of creating, and I mean, I've done that. I've created courses, spent all this time recording, creating slides, and it's been like not what I thought it would be, right? As far as the number of people, it didn't correlate. So now I've gotten, smarter, like a lot of the other influencers will say, to have an idea of what the demand is out there, what people are looking for, what they need, and then start to develop the shell of a program and then sell it and see if there is the demand. And then you create based on the needs of the people that you've sold it to. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Hi, how do you go about finding media to accept your content? Like if you've already created content, like finding sources that'll publish it.
So that takes a lot of thick skin and a lot of pitching. And media doesn't have to be like these big, it doesn't have to be TV networks. It doesn't have to be newspapers. It could be podcasts. Like I actually have found podcasts are a really effective form of media and a medium to position yourself as an expert and really spread the word. So it's really about finding those media outlets or podcasts or whatever that are really in line with the message that you have to give and also who your target audience is. And then coming up with ideas, listening and or watching that media and figuring out the kind of stories that they do and then fitting your business into that model. And then not being shy, like literally just do it over and over and over again. And it's also about building relationships. So I think that's when, having a PR person or something is helpful if they already know all the people that you're looking to pitch. Yes.
Hi, I have a question I'm piggybacking off of her. I have a social justice product that is very hard to make people feel good about. But I have a lot of press and media, but what I found out happened is everyone takes each other's story, but they never contact me. So my story is out there without me. How do I get me back in my story?
Ooh, wait, what do you mean? So,
for instance, CNN, Essence, Blavity, I have so much press, but only one source contacted me for it. So they're taking the stories.
I see. But you're still in all those other stories, correct?
I am, and sales soared for a moment, then there's nothing, because how do you keep it relevant?
Yeah. Well, one thing is are you constantly reminding on your social channels and on your website, right? And then also thinking about how you flip the story or mix it up a little bit, knowing that it was successful, and pitch it. And also, don't underestimate, like I mentioned, some of these newer media outlets like podcasts. That could be a different group of people that are seeing that same message or that same story.
It's hard to get on the couches and on the shows.
Yes.
That's the issue.
Yes.
So, thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, my question is on if I be a rock star customer,
Yeah.
how does it change your target market?
Well, it shouldn't change your target market too much because there are already your current customers, right? The idea is that those are your target market and you're trying to bring more of just that person in. So more people like them who love you, who know you, who spend with them, spend with you, they talk to their friends who are likely very similar to who they are as far as purchasing behavior and needs, and you get them to bring in. So it's not necessarily about changing your target audience, it's about increasing. Yes. Okay.
So how do I, in the direct sales industry, stand out in the crowd, so to speak, especially when I do have a product and service that truly can change lives?
Yep.
It's so hard with the cacophony and the assault of all this information
Yeah.
and competition to really get through to the people who need to hear what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What you say or offer.
So there's two ways. One, it's that whole idea of personal branding. How do you add elements of yourself to make you different than all the other people who may be selling the exact same product that you are? So having a little bit of that human side of you come through in your channels and maybe in your writing or however it is you're marketing. And also, how do you really show the value that you're bringing to the people, and how is it going to change the lives? So it's one thing to say this is going to change your life. It's another to show it in testimonials, to show it visually, to represent a before and after, to really hammer home on the value that you're bringing as opposed to just saying that you are bringing value, if that makes sense. So that's what you want to do on Instagram or on any of those platforms. And you have to figure out the way visually to do it if it's on Instagram, but there are ways to do it. But it's all about that value that you're bringing and how what you do and the product that you do, that combo is going to really change them. Yeah. Okay. Yes?
Please, what's your candid opinion?
Candid?
Yeah, last
With
question.
regards to a landing page versus a website.
Oh, okay. A candid opinion of landing page versus a website. I'm a huge fan of a website versus a landing page. If you're just getting started and you don't have the budget, maybe you start with the landing page, but you really want one of your first investments, I believe, to be a website. You could do Squarespace. It doesn't cost a lot of money and you can do it on your own. But at least with the website, you can have a top navigation where you can show about you. You can have your social channels. You can have email capture. You can have a couple of those things that are really important for anybody starting out. So absolutely, I say a website versus a landing page.
You say square what?
Squarespace.
Okay, thank you so much.
So I will be here all afternoon and at the cocktail hour, so please come by and say hi and would love to chat more. Thank you.